I also today want to give a shout out to the people who, over a 5-week period, were part of our prayer circle. And as a focus for our prayer circle, we went through the 23rd Psalm. How many of you here were part of that prayer circle with the 23rd Psalm? Okay, got a good group here. We went kind of line by line, and each week we focused on a different line and what that might mean for our prayer life and what kinds of prayers we might raise up before about that piece of scripture. So as we heard the 23rd Psalm read today, was there anything that caught your attention, especially today?
Just restores my soul.
Restores my soul. Yeah. Anybody else have a favorite line? 23rd Psalm. Today?
I dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
The house of the Lord forever. A lot of great lines in there. And one of the things that we tried to do was to memorize the 23rd Psalm as we went through it, which is a great exercise. I hope some of you may today be inspired to do that same thing. There's one line that I kind of want to dwell on today, and I don't think I've ever talked about this before, but your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Now, a lot of people are puzzled by those words, they comfort me, right? I wasn't particularly comforted when I was a child and my mother said, I'm going to go get the yardstick. It wasn't comforting. And often we think in those ways about your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And so today I want to talk about a few of the dimensions of that and kind of dispel any notions that you might have about it. The Good Shepherd is the most frequent image of Jesus. It's how we know Jesus, and so it's important that we get the 23rd Psalm right and not have the idea that Jesus is chasing us around with a rod and a staff. But to think about how much a shepherd cares for sheep. This is one of the earliest paintings that we have of the 23rd Psalm, The Lord is my shepherd. And this probably dates to about the year 250. So it is very old, and it was one of the most popular pieces of artwork in the catacombs. Perhaps it was like a comforting thing for people who were mourning the loss of a loved one, so it was found there. But today I want to talk about real sheep and about real shepherds. Does anybody know what the name of this sheep is? Very famous sheep. Did you see this story? Obviously there's a problem with this sheep. This is Shrek, named after the movie. And several years ago, he was a renegade New Zealand sheep who evaded his shearers for 6 years. He was 10 years old when they caught him. And he managed to roam around New Zealand's South Island for 6 years before they rounded him up. He was shorn on live television by David Fagan and Peter Cassidy on their television show. Kind of wonder how they turned him over. Shrek had, does anyone want to guess how heavy that fleece was? 60 pounds. 60 pounds of fleece. And that is enough to make 20 large men's suits. It was auctioned off over the internet for the benefit of a local children's hospital. That's what this scene is here. You kind of see the little thing on his coat there. This is a real sheep. When you're chasing them, they run. If you've got a rod in your hand, you're not going to be able to control that sheep. They're going to keep running for 6 years. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. I don't think Shrek ever said that. There might not be any other line in the 23rd Psalm that has been used in such an unhelpful way. You guys have all seen this. You've all been in a place of business. You've all worked somewhere. You know this prevalent philosophy in our world today. Sticks and carrots, right? We all know that. Sticks and carrots. The world likes sticks. The world likes sticks. We like to suppress people from the outside, and we all know that repression is never a good thing on the inside, psychologically. Elephants, lions, perhaps, can be controlled a little bit with whips, but not sheep. There's stick theology. This is where I want to get at here. There's stick theology, right? If you don't do what we want, you're not going to take communion. If you don't do what we want, you're going to be taken off the church roll. Stick theology. And some people, unfortunately, have misread Psalm 23 to mean that. Stick theology. You are going to hell if you don't fill in the blank. Or if you do, fill in the blank. So there's a danger in the 23rd Psalm of misreading what it's actually saying. Today we have this terrible stick economic policy in America that says the more we take away people's benefits, the more we beat them, the more apt they might be to turn around and get a job. We're going to continue to use that stick and beat people until they do what we want them to do. How long have we been doing that? 30 years, 40 years, stick economics. All we got to do is get tough. Take more things away. Then they'll turn around. There's also many of us have experienced stick parenting. Stick parenting. Some of us have experienced stick educational policies. I had a tough kindergarten teacher. I learned to hate school. Many of us had that experience. It's even worse when you have a stick at home, you have a stick at school. You say, no, I didn't control school. Right? I'm telling you, the world likes sticks. We like to have power over people. We like to think there's an easy answer to our solutions, and it's to be as harsh as we possibly can. The other hand is he doesn't have a carrot in his hand. I thought I had a carrot in my hand. So he's got money, but you get the idea. That's the carrot, right? That's a carrot that everybody in this world strives after. Dogs are good at carrot theology, right? Got a treat in your hand. Have you ever seen them try to hold back until you give them that treat? You know, they're kind of shaking and, they want that treat so bad that you can kind of control them. And now religiously, here's the other side of why we try to encourage people to go to church and all those kinds of things in a bad way, in an unhelpful way, let me put it that way. That religiously, we say to people, you're going to go to heaven if you do this. Or you're going to go to heaven if you don't do this. It's stick theology. And Psalm 23 in our faith is not about sticks and carrots. It's about a living relationship with the shepherd. It's about the relationships we have. It's about the honest sense that we have to be about good things. And we don't need anybody beating us. We don't need anybody withholding a carrot. And our world has not learned this. And we get these values from the world that we live in. And what we have done as a nation is we've chased people all over this world with a big stick. And we think that it's going to be a solution to our problems. And the bigger the stick, the better the solution. We like sticks. We bribe people into submission. And a harsh authoritarian philosophy doesn't fit with the Good Shepherd. It's not what Psalm 23 is about. And if you look at a sheep like Shrek, even a sheep won't tolerate that. So look into your own heart and consider some place where you might be trying to punish someone and they're running away from you. Or you're trying to bribe someone to be good and it's not working. We have a great motivational speaker. His name is Dan Pink. And he's written a wonderful book. It's just called Drive, D-R-I-V-E, about motivation and what encourages people to do good things. And he talks about intrinsic motivation. You do something because it's good, and not because someone else wants you to do it, not because you'll get some worldly reward or some heavenly reward for it, just because in its essence it's good. It's a good thing to help other people. Whether somebody's got a stick over your head or whether they're going to give you a carrot, you do the right thing no matter what the circumstances. And now I want to show you a ubiquitous slide over the last month. Does anybody know what the word ubiquitous means? Well, what does it mean? Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Anybody know what the word ubiquitous means? Oh, one of our teachers knows. Don't hit me. What was that? Ever present. Kind of in a negative way. It's ubiquitous, you know. It's kind of like, something that you see everywhere, right? Popping up everywhere. Okay, here we go. I learned that word from a rabbi in Springfield, Illinois. He preached at our church one time. He kept using the word. I had to look it up. So I know what it is. So now, so you. It's everywhere. Here it is. It's our philosophy for only 4 things, only in the church, is to invite and to connect. And if you don't connect, the invite doesn't do any good. Because if you don't connect, you don't know the needs of people. You don't know where you need to be. To equip, to learn good things that will help us to be sent out into the world to do good. We got another slide here that, I really like the quotes of Will Rogers, and I like this one especially. The taxpayers are sending congressmen on expensive trips abroad. It might be worth it, except they keep coming back. Will Rogers had it together, didn't he? He knew what kind of world we live in. The one thing that I really want to say about the image of the shepherd is that in the ancient world, if you were a shepherd, it was like you were a king or you were a monarch. And only mighty kings and even demigods were called shepherds, because they were the ones who had the power to make the world better, to do different kinds of things. So it was a political statement when the early church said Jesus is Lord. When they said Jesus is the good shepherd, they were saying that he's the king and he has a different way of living that's better than the old way that the world treats people, with sticks and carrots. So we live with the hope somebody might listen. We live with the hope that someone might get caught up in something that is beyond themselves. With the hope that we'll do away with our fears when we're confronted with a system or a person who wants to hold a stick over our head. And to remember the Good Shepherd and the real meaning of the shepherd who brings us comfort. Human history is a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. And we need to accept the way that the world goes about its business is not ultimately good for us. Bribes and carrots, sticks and domination. We never seem to learn. But we lift up a different world. A world that we can imagine is possible. A world that Jesus, who is so great, because he gave us that opportunity. And we ourselves, why in this world do we love violence so much? Why in the world do we see it as a solution to all of our problems? Why is it that we try to dominate people into a certain way of thinking? So let's not love violence or manipulation. The Good Shepherd allows us to live in a new world. My sheep hear my voice. They know my voice. So let's know what voices to listen to and to where real comfort